the 11th through the 19th verses. And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priests.
Yes.
And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus answered and said, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? There are not found that return to give glory to God, save the stranger. And he said unto him, Arise, go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole.
Amen.
For just a few minutes, I'm going to preach on, I just came back to say thank you.
All right.
I just came back to say thank you. Looking at this very familiar passage of scripture, we begin to learn and have an account that these men were suffering from a disease. This disease that they were suffering from had made them outcasts in their land, their countries, which therefore means they could not hold jobs, they couldn't be around their family, they couldn't do anything but move from where they were. This leprosy was now something that was considered an unholy disease, which is why they called out, whenever someone came close, they had to yell out, unclean, unclean. Which therefore let the people know that they are now entering into a place where they should not enter unless they were ready to catch this disease and be outcast themselves. We begin to observe as they addressed Jesus from afar off. They didn't wait for him to get to his destination, because it says he was traveling, and as he was traveling, you know, sometimes when you travel, your body gets tired. But they didn't care that Jesus was tired. They just wanted to be cleansed of what they were going through. How many of you can actually say that when you're going through something that you want to stop and help somebody else?
All right.
How many of you can say that as I'm going through my trials and tribulations, or I'm going through after being working all day, I'm tired, and I can say I'm going to stop and help someone else? Well, these men were in a position where they needed some help. And the priests and the people of the area weren't able to help them the way that they thought they should be helped. So they knew and they heard of a man that was able to help them from all things.
Amen.
They heard of Jesus as he was healing and delivering all throughout the land and the country. They heard who Jesus was, and they wanted to be able to say that Jesus healed them as well. We begin to realize and see that Jesus was not a stranger of casting out demons. He wasn't a stranger of healing the blind. He wasn't a stranger of making the dumb to talk and the lame to walk. He wasn't a stranger of raising the dead from the grave. But here was a problem that some people couldn't really accept. Here was a disease that the people couldn't really seem to get a hold of. This leprosy, it was a skin disease that was contagious if you came too close. So here we begin to realize that they didn't want to get too close to Jesus because they didn't want to pass along, but they forgot that Jesus has all power in his hand.
Amen.
So as he was walking, they said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us.
All right.
Every now and then we need to ask Jesus, have mercy on us. Why? Because we've been going through some things in our lives. We have some trials and tribulations that have been bearing us down. We have some jobs that are causing us headaches. We have some relationships that's not working out right. We're in a place where we think we should be, but we're not where we want to be. But we need Jesus to have mercy on us.
Amen.
So here they cry out, Jesus, have mercy. And he heard them and he said, go and show yourself to the priest and be made whole. I began to realize that sometimes Jesus just needs to speak to our situations. When he speaks, things begin to happen. When he speaks, things begin to change. When he speaks, things turn around. Well, how do you know this, brother preacher? I know because when he spoke to Lazarus, he said, Lazarus, get up and walk. You preaching good, brother. You preaching good. Don't worry. Just keep on preaching. I began to realize that when he speaks, things turn around. Jairus was a high ruler. He had to come to Jesus at night. He said, Jesus, if you just speak, my daughter shall be made whole. So I began to understand that when Jesus speaks, things begin to happen.
Amen.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I need him to speak into some situations in my life. I need him to speak into some things that's causing me pain. I need him to speak into some things that's causing me some distrust. I need him to speak into some things that's been making me a little uneasy. And then I began to realize when he began to speak, sometimes you have to go through the trials and tribulations. You have to get crushed sometimes. You have to be made into like a rock being made into a diamond. You have to go through the fire. You got to go through the rain. You got to be crushed down, crushed in order for God to do some things in your life.
Amen.
So here, these lepers are standing afar off and they're saying, Jesus, have mercy on us.
All right.
So now they heard the word and they heard that Jesus said, you're healed, go your way. And what they began to do, they began to get happy and they ran off. But as they began to run off, one of them seated himself. He said, wait, I got to go back and tell God thank you. I begin to realize that when you tell God thank you, it makes room for more. Every time when somebody gives me something, I have to tell them thank you. Why? Because if I don't tell them thank you, that means I don't appreciate it. I may appreciate it myself, but they need to hear it for themselves. So I have to tell some people thank you for all that they've done in my life. I have to tell Pastor Collier thank you for this opportunity to stand and preach the word. I got to tell the people thank you for coming out because you could have went somewhere else. So I say thank you for all that you've done.
All right.
Yeah, I begin to realize and understand that thank you always makes room for more. When you begin to realize, when you say thank you to some people will continue to do more for you. Sometimes when we get so miserable, we think that they already have the mindset that we're saying thank you, that we just take it and keep on moving. But we forget that sometimes we got to say thank you. I've traveled far and I've traveled near, and I began to realize that some people can't speak, and they speak in different languages, but they always find a way to tell you thank you. I began to realize that when people, they don't have to do it for you, but when they do, you should say thank you. I began to realize that sometimes when I see how my kids are coming up, I still have this mindset. I was raised in a household where you always say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, may I please, thank you. And then every time something was done right, you always had to have that reverence to that person. I began coming up in the house of the Lord that you have to tell people thank you when they open the door for you. The ushers open the door and say thank you for opening the door. So the usher, I say thank you for escorting me to my seat. Thank you. For the musicians on the musical instruments, you got to tell some people thank you because they don't have to do anything for you.
Amen.
So here we see this man comes back and he's now glorifying God because he began to realize that God didn't have to heal him. Jesus didn't have to tell him that he was made whole so he can go back to his family. Jesus didn't have to tell him that he was made whole. Jesus could have just kept on walking on to his destination of Jerusalem. But he had some things that he wanted to be done, so he had to let them know that I'm still able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. So when I do it, I just need you to say thank you.
All right.
I grew up in the church where we had to learn some things, and I began to realize that one of the things that we had to learn was our Father's Prayer. And it says, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. But then I began to realize when the old deacons used to do it at prayer, they used to say that same prayer, but then they would say, God, I thank you for waking me up this morning. God, I thank you for starting me on my way. God, I thank you for food on my table. God, I thank you for having clothes to wear. God, I thank you. And I began to realize that they were saying, God, thank you for bringing them from a mighty long way. When I began to look back over my life, at 27 when I had a stroke, you don't see no signs of it. I'm still here to tell God thank you. And I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave. God prepared me for a time as this. So I tell God thank you.
Thank you.
For being so good to me. I got to tell him thank you for being there, moving me from one place to another. I had to tell him thank you for keeping me along my journey. I had to tell him thank you that when I should have died in a car accident, I'm still here. So God, I thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Because you have been better to me than I've ever been to myself. You mean more to me than I mean to you. But I'm thankful for just doing the little things that you do. Every little thing that he does, he continues to do it over and over again. So I stand on his word, trusting and believing that everything shall work out fine. So I got to tell God, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Just like them deacons in the old and the preachers of old, they would stand and say, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. None other help I know. Because when I began to realize what they were saying in that prayer, they were saying, God, I thank you for what you've done for me from last night up until now. When I could have died crossing the street, you kept me. When I could have died getting on the highways and byways, you kept me. When I walked past the cemetery, you kept me. Because I could have had my names in the cemetery. But God, you kept me. And for that, I tell you, thank you.
Thank you.
I just came back to tell you thank you.
Yeah.
When you begin to realize and understand that God is doing some mighty things in your life, you may not see it, but if you just hold on just a little while longer, a change is going to come. If you just hold on just a little while longer, a little thank you takes you a long way. I begin to realize that a thank you means so much more. So I began to understand as I was traveling that everybody says thank you a different way. Now, do I remember everything that they said? But one thing I learned in Spanish, the first thing we learned was thank you. In our Spanish class, we say gracias. Some people say muchas gracias, which means thank you very much. But gracias means thank you. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm thankful for the things that God has done in my life. I'm thankful because I should have, like I said, should have been dead a long time ago, but God kept me to tell him thank you yet another time and again. I'm thankful for everything that I've done. And when I begin to realize what things that I have, 10 things I got to tell God thank you for.
Amen.
Number one, he woke me up this morning. Number 2, 3, 4, he woke me up this morning.
Yeah.
Number 4, 5, 6, and 7, he woke me up this morning. 7, 8, 9, he woke me up this morning.
Yeah.
Number 10, he woke me up this morning.
All right.
He don't do nothing else for me. He woke me up this morning. Why? Because I should have been dead, but he woke me up.
Yeah.
He started me on my way. He brought me through the highways and byways. He continued to keep me when all things is going wrong. He held me when I should have died. He walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me that I am his own. But I tell him thank you.
Thank you.
God, I thank you.
Yeah.
For being good to me. You've been so good to the people of Macedonia that we all have to have a common courtesy and just tell God thank you. God, I thank you because you didn't have to let us be here. But God, I thank you because you brought us through. God, I thank you because we passed many churches on our way here where you brought us here. God, I thank you for just being almighty and powerful. God, I thank you for keeping a hedge of protection around me. God, I thank you for all things that you're doing in my life. God, I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
I get excited when I begin to think of all the things he's done for me. I just can't contain myself. I can't hold it back. I just got to tell God, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Lord.
When all else is said and done, I fall down on my knees at the end of the night and I say, Father, thank you for my day. God, I thank you for keeping me as I travel here and there. God, I thank you for not allowing the enemy to take a hold of me and have me sick in my body. I thank you for keeping me just another day. And I begin to, as I go to the hospitals, I can just imagine some of the people there who are just hurting, but they're still saying thank you because I have life in my body. I thank you because I should have been dead. God, I thank you.
Yeah.
How can I not tell God thank you when he's been so good to me? He's been better than Campbell's soup when they say it's good. I know he's so good to me. Why? Because they wrote a song that says, he woke me up this morning and started me on my way. What more shall he do? He laid the foundation. I began to realize as he began to make the world, he formed it. He said, let there be light, and he separated the light from the dark. He begins to let me know that I'm still a work undone. And like the last time I preached, I said, I'm still a work undone, and I'm still being worked on. So as he's still working on me, I tell him, thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Yes.
Yeah. hospitals couldn't heal these lepers, and the priests couldn't heal these lepers. They didn't care much for the lepers. They made sure that they were outcast and pushed to the side, and they made sure that no matter what was going on, they didn't have to come into the city. They had the lepers had their own little community. So these 10 came together and they began to talk together and they began to worship together. And they said, well, we heard of the man named Jesus, and we know that he's going to be coming through sometime soon. But if we can just get to him, just like the woman with the issue of blood, she said, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I know that I shall be made whole. If you can just reach out and say, God, I thank you for everything. Just wave your hand and say, God, I thank you. If I can't say another word, I thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you can take you a whole lot further than a mean, mild spirit. There's so many people that don't care what's going to happen from day to day. There's some people that's looking to hurt you. There's some people that's looking to take you out. But God keeps his head of protection around you, just like he did with Job. And his wife came and said, you need to curse God and die. He said, woman, you sound foolish, because I serve Almighty God. Because naked I came in this world, and naked I shall leave. Job lost everything he had, but yet he still told God, thank you. I began to realize that whenever you're going through, no matter how hard it may seem, just tell God, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. May heaven smile upon you, and God continue to give you peace. And just know that a thank you goes a long way. God bless.
Amen. Amen. All right.
Come on, Zion.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord. So many of us take things for granted. Praise God. When God begin to bless us, we don't ever tell him thank you.
Yeah.
But one thing I've learned in life, that I'm going to thank God for the good, and I'm going to thank him for the bad. For the Bible says, for we know that all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord and that are called according to his purpose.
Yeah.
So God, I'm going to thank you. How many thank yous I have in the house today?
Thank you. Thank you.
God, I thank you, God. I didn't see my way, God. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, God. But I'm going to thank you now in advance, God. Oh, God. He told us to call those things if it be not as though it were. Praise God, I'm going to thank you, God.
Yeah.
I thank you, God, because they took the car. God, I thank you, God, because they foreclosed on the house, God. But God, when they take something for me, that means that you get something back. God, I want to thank you, God, because all the people that were in here, God, all the ones that I thought were heroes, they were number zero. God, I thank you, God, because you are sending in more help.
All
God,
right.
I thank you.
Amen.
When I begin to think of the goodness of Jesus, he preached. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Take it easy now.
Praise God.
Amen.
Right. God is good. So glad to see this Sister Wilson. Praise God. Praise God. And my dear brother and sister, y'all want to stand and tell us who you are, where you're from?
My name's Eric, and I'm Miss Sister Wilson's grandson, and this is my
Oh,
girlfriend.
grandson.
Yeah.
Okay. God bless y'all. God bless you. Amen.